I wish they all could be California girls, but unfortunately, sometimes you get, girls from the East Coast or whatever. And mind you, I'm not dismissing girls from the East Coast. From an experience perspective, I think that, girls from the West Coast have more mental issues, emotional issues, spiritual issues. I do support this. And yes, there is kind of this narrative that's not fully validated. I was told this by a childhood friend of mine that on the East Coast, the women are a little bit more, what's the term, fast that the old folks used to say. So I understand there's kind of this preference choice. What do you prefer? Do you prefer the fast life, or something a little bit more low key? Regardless, I was debating doing this one. But it's the morning. I got my coffee, and brain's on now, and I have to get on my endeavor and deal with the garbage that is Windows 11 because I just updated. And something came across my desk, and I figured, let's go ahead and do it. But it wasn't valuable enough, I guess, for the podcast at cryptotalkradio.net. But there was an opportunity to talk about it, I thought, on YouTube, just as one of those out of cycle deals. I did a coverage a while ago around, at the time, Apollo Enu. Apollo Enu then changed to Apollo Crypto DAO. What I was told, and you're going to hear me say allegedly a lot because I'm not digging in it, and I certainly don't go to Telescam and I don't go to their Discord. So you're going to hear me say allegedly a lot because I'm reading what I see. So don't come at me talking fake. It's what I see. Whether what I see is real or not, I don't know. I'm reporting what I see. So you're free to go and do the research, and I encourage you to do so. I said at the time, this is going to struggle because there's all sorts of fundamental issues. Allegedly, truly, allegedly, Henok from the Saitama system was one of the big backers on this guy early on. Allegedly. Now, I know Henok had the whole thing of whatever it was, like turn $1 million into something, and he lost major amounts of money because he was a shit trader. So I didn't follow his wallet. I don't care. But I did see he jumped into multiple different projects that he was interested in. And then, of course, I don't know if he's still doing that, game show or whatever. But his name came up a lot on this. I did see Zach Humphreys, I think I saw on this. A couple of other ones, notable ones that came from the Saitama world that went to this Apollo Enu at the time, and then later Apollo Crypto DAO when it turned into a DAO. And I, again, said, I think this is going to struggle because it's lacking a lot of fundamentals. I don't think that it's going to sustain. It's going to have a hard time. It's going to struggle just because I think, and it's interesting, the hype that it gets from the influencers doesn't seem to be working. The traffic has died on that account. I looked at the X account and it's getting nowhere near the traffic that it once did. It's just completely died off. Yet the various influencers are heavily talking about it, getting retweeted like crazy. We're talking people that at one point was pulling hundreds, if not thousands of hits, and a lot of people buying in. And as I look at it on CoinMarketCap, it certainly does not have the level of traffic I would expect, given that we're in a bull situation. It ran up, but nowhere near of what you would expect, given the amount of, unrealistic hype that it's currently getting and has gotten outside of certain pumps. Well, then I noticed on the community on CoinMarketCap, somebody said, user not really, quote, Henok jeeted, and here we go again with misusing that word, jeeted his bag after shilling to followers. So I'm going to try to translate what this person is saying. So let's talk about the shilling first. Of course, Henok, again, has been heavily talking about this business. I've seen that, and I don't follow him, have not, but I saw that. And I'm questioning why that following was, other than Saitama. Feels like just he was such a cheerleader for Saitama, he just happened to entice Saitama people, but that wasn't necessarily going to translate into other projects, especially because based on what I saw, Henok has a pretty terrible track record of projects that were going to succeed long term, given what he was saying about them, right? He was saying that, these, and the vast majority of them are talking about NFTs. So, and I've said, I think people are tired of NFTs. I don't think it's a symptom of him. I think he's just buying into the hype, and they may be paying him to do it. I don't know, but I think he's just going off NFTs. And I say people are tired of NFTs. And I said, let's let time pass and see who's right or wrong. So I don't think I don't think it's him. I think he's just a terrible trader, So this jeeted his bag again. It's a misuse of the word jeet because we talked about that on my other, children episode that's recently went viral. But let's assume that he's referring to that they meant to say yeet, right? So yeeted the bag. Then I would kind of understand it. It's still stupid, but I would kind of understand it. If it's a person saying that Henok dumped the bag, then that's a better word. Just say the word dumped then. If that's what you mean, then say that, okay? I don't know if that's what the person means. Is the person saying that Henok dumped the bag? I'd like to hear. CryptoTalkRadio.net, hit the contact form. Did Henok dump the bag after shilling you to get in? That's a pump and dump scam if you didn't know that. So I don't know that he did. I'm asking the question, did he do that? Well, then I looked on social media, and allegedly there's some sort of a migration that's happening again. So let's put a timeline here. So we start with this Apollo Emu, and it's a dog. And the irony is, if it still was Apollo Emu, it would probably be running up in this current bull run because the meme tokens are running up. I digress here. But they changed this Apollo Crypto DAO, and okay, fine. But then now that was a migration. So from Apollo Emu to Apollo Crypto. So now we're effectively a V2. Okay. They put out a post and they said that they're going to be migrating because they're going to be going to a gaming ecosystem. So it's called Moonbase, if you didn't know that. And they're going to be migrating over to this because they're going to go all in on gaming. I have no problem with them going in on gaming, but if you've heard me on multiple episodes, I said that any token that does migrations is doomed to fail. They've already done migrations. It basically never recovered. It never got back to the level of success it had under the Apollo Emu brand. The DAO didn't really do them much good, right? So with this, I was reading, okay, what is it that you're ultimately trying to do here? And how would this affect, the process? So they're doing AMAs and they're on YouTube. So they are at least trying to communicate outside the crypto bubble. I give them credit for that. I give them credit for at least trying to do this. And so their messaging is clean. I like what they're trying to do. They're trying to make sure enough people understand and what's going on. I think their strategy sucks. Let me get into why I say this. So phase one, they're going to be building out this contract, and it's going to be fixing some stuff that was happening and doing all that stuff. And then they're going to do a migration over to this business. They're going to have the DAO on the other side. And then phase two is to get all set up for this business and tell the team what they need to do when they need to do it, roll out UIs. And then phase three is to actually get the contracts out there and start the migration path. Their phases, I'm not really a fan, but it's what it is. They at least are trying. So I give them kudos for trying. So don't think I'm trashing them. I'm not. I'm giving them feedback. The feedback is, if these guys had stayed with Apollo Emu, they would probably be going on a major run right now. That's the irony, right? It's like going to Apollo Crypto DAO. It didn't resonate with anybody now. It certainly didn't. And I think going to this gaming, while I like the idea of going to gaming, I think you're going to have a hard time. But just because of the strategy. The strategy feels ill thought out, and you're reliant too much on shillers to get stuff going instead of tangible results. People say, no, there's tangible results. No. Because if you had tangible results, your price wouldn't be where it is. Remember, this was started as trying to help, influencers get recognition, essentially. You can vote for your influencers. And I said that I don't think it should be a popularity contest where you're shilling to get votes. I think it should be where it's a fair thing. And they never fixed that. Well, there obviously wasn't an audience for this. So gaming has an audience, but as we see with WAGMI games, they're not at the point where you got to get mainstream with that. You got to get to the level of a Unity, Unreal Engine, big time, but those games take often a decade to make, so most cryptocurrencies aren't going to last that damn long. You got a 2 to 3 year half-life to make your cryptocurrency succeed. That means your games have to be pretty amazing fresh out the gate, and none of them can pull that off. I'm not wishing ill of the project because, again, I give them kudos for their communication. They are talking outside the bubble, putting it on YouTube. They use Discord. They have a Medium post. They break stuff down, and they're doing AMAs on the YouTube, and they are trying. So I'm not trashing them. I'm giving the feedback that I think if you had stayed Apollo Emu and just stayed the course, you'd be running right now. I think that your excessive reliance on shillers is to your detriment, especially because the ones that are shilling it appear to have a negative perspective on everything. They only like what they like, right? They're not really celebrating these other ones that are going on true runs, and they're only focusing on these others, and they may be getting paid. That's a negative perspective that they have, maybe, of those other ones. That's fine. But then how are you perceived by the rest of the community? You're perceived as just a shiller who's hyping your stuff, and then dumping your bag, which is what that person on CoinMarketCap thinks happened. I didn't say that it did. I'm saying they think that Henok essentially did a pump and dump. Whether he did or not, I can't say. I can say Henok at one point was given a lot of money to apparently prove that he can double it or whatever that was. And so that means that he was shifting projects, over time, and he might have been contributing to some of the pump and dumps. I can't say for sure, but I am saying to the team, if they ever hear this, that I think you went wrong when you moved away from Apollo Inu, first. And second, while I like that what you do, your communication path, I think that there's just too much damage that's happened, and it's going to be really hard for you to recover, as we saw with Terrarium, as we saw with Lillian and all the other ones that originated around that time. Anyway, comments and let me know what you think. I am not down on what the gaming. I've said gaming is the next big thing. I maintain that. I just don't think that this team has it to pull it off, because gaming itself has evolved a lot. And unless they're willing to partner up, I think with the mainstream, it's going to struggle. But if anyone wants any ideas, I can share some ideas of what I think would get over, because there are some gaming concepts that I can guarantee you would get over. They are NFT based, but they got to want the smoke. So if they do, hit me up here, YouTube.